Hey everybody, it's Bart, Nature Guy, sitting outside here in the middle of the woods, and wanted to provide you all a invitation for this week to kind of engage nature in a mindful way, and so I wanted to kind of do something I call nature's bungee, and then also kind of a little bit of a focus with spring. We see a lot of decay at this time of year, things that have kind of not made it through the winter, and then we also see all this new growth coming alive at this time of year, which all the beautiful different shades of green are out there in the trees, but at the same time we kind of see a lot of decay at this time of year too. And so when we get to the invitation, I'll kind of explain what I'm asking you to do. It's something you don't have to do, but it's definitely, I invite you all to kind of participate in this practice in any way that you feel suits you. But most of the time when I get myself to a place of being outside, I really want to engage all my senses and kind of bring myself an opportunity to kind of drop into the practice a little bit. And part of that is just being quiet and still, but that can also be a struggle for people. And so I really think it can be valuable for people to use some of their senses and focus on their senses as they engage nature. And so I thought I'd lead you through something that we call POP in my world, and POP means power of presence. And so we're going to work on kind of bringing ourselves to the space that we are outside. So if you're able to get outside and you're ready to play the video, definitely do that. And so one of the things when I'm outside in nature, I definitely want to take a look around and see all the things that are happening around me, all the trees, maybe the bugs, see what's in motion around me. And then usually one of the first things that I will do is close my eyes. And when we remove our sight, which is one of our primary ways of kind of moving ourselves as humans through the world changes drastically. I start to hear things in a different way. Right now I'm going to invite you to hear the thing that's closest to you. Might be a leaf falling, car door closing, bird chirping. And now I want you to see if you can hear that thing that's furthest away from you. Could be a large tree blowing in the wind across the yard or park. Could be an airplane. And if you're able to and feel comfortable keeping your eyes closed, that's great. If you don't, that's okay too. I'm going to keep my eyes closed through this video for this first part. And I'm also going to now engage the sense of smell. We don't think about the smells outside that often, unless oftentimes we're around flowers, but there's a lot of things happening for us. Smell is actually one of our strongest senses. It has some of the strongest memory recall for us in our lives, both events good and bad. Taking a deep breath in and out. We'll try 2 more big breaths in through the nostrils. And last one. Next is touch, and when I'm just standing and starting this practice, oftentimes I just like to keep my eyes closed, but it's also just feeling that wind or the air around me, and how that differs in places like my hands that don't have clothing over them versus areas that do have clothing over them. Maybe I'm wearing a hat, and how the wind interacts with my hair that's outside of that hat and underneath that hat, or on my face. Also feeling the ground beneath my feet. Like right now I have the wind blowing and kind of howling above me in the trees, and I can hear that as well with my eyes closed. It helps me stay attuned to all the different senses that we're bringing to the table. And thank you. That's just a little mindful practice that I like to do to begin and kind of get myself centered when I'm outside, and when I'm really looking to kind of find myself in that place and be present in that place. Engaging my senses in that way is a huge help for me. It might be a help for you, it might not. Today is invitation to kind of engage nature, is to do something I call it, which is nature's bungee, which is just like a bungee cord kind of stretches you. And so there's oftentimes we'll be looking outside and we'll be like, that's a really cool tree, or you'll be on a beach and be like, that's a really cool rock, or that's a really cool shell. But there might be thousands of rocks or shells around that one that you find is really cool. And there's a reason for that, and that's kind of saying that we have connection to things outside. There's definitely times in the fall when I see this beautiful tree full of all these different colored leaves. This time of year, it's oftentimes those bright new greens of those new leaves coming forward, kind of as they interact with the sky, kind of like what you see right behind me, with those dark kind of black sticks streaking through the sky with these bright green colors around it. Even as I'm doing this video in kind of a selfie mode, I catch myself looking up above in the trees, especially over in this area right here, and how those kind of sticks and leaves are all interacting with the sky. Absolutely, I can get mesmerized by it for a long time, which is why I do what I do. But my job is also to help you find ways that you can engage in nature in a way that provides you kind of a place to relax and slow down a little bit. And so with it being spring, I talked about the decay and the newness, and so my invitation to you today is to find a place around you that you can see in the same kind of space something new and something old. And all I mean by that is to look around. I'm going to look around right now, but immediately, like, I'm sitting on this kind of old dead log, right? And so this old dead log also has right below it some brand new plants. And you can see how the wind is engaging them right now. And I just simply want you to find a space that you find the old decay of last year's leaves, if you can see those. This old log that's been probably sitting here for 10 years. And these plants that have just come out of the ground and have only been here for a week or two. And I just want to have you notice and see whatever comes to you from being in that space. And I want you to try to do that for 10 minutes. Even set a timer. Even with a spot as small as this. You might find something that is even some plants sticking out of the crack in some sidewalk. That sidewalk's been there for 50 years, and you have these two little plants sticking out. You don't need to be out in the middle of the woods to do this. And so that's my invitation for you today. I hope everyone is in good health. Again, I always miss seeing you all every week, but I'll keep providing you invitations to kind of engage nature. Take care, and we'll talk to you later. I'm out.